have something I want to pass out to the council and to other people up there. I am proud of the people who have come here tonight. Thank you. Stand up and take a break. Stand up for the flag. Sir, I am privileged to be a citizen of Newport News. And as part of a citizen of Newport News, I'm here to encourage you to do what's best for Newport News, for this city. Not for a developer from Norfolk, not for a former mayor, not for a handful of people, but do what's best for the entire community. We have a gem, GEM, in that park. It's an asset that cannot be replaced. If you think of how many thousands of houses there are on Newport News, just adding a couple of hundred more is not going to change the tax base any. Matter of fact, residential housing does not make money. For the most part, it's a loser. And the greatest loss would be the loss of the natural area. We need to keep our citizens in touch with nature. Now, I grew up in this area, and I know why people moved to the Menchville area, why they moved to Denby back in the 60s and 70s, and back when I was in high school and later on, because they wanted to get away from development. And now we are trying to make all of the city overdeveloped. We need to keep the most precious pieces that we have left. Now, I think of this city as being like a pie, and it's been cut up so many times, and all these pieces given to development, and we're down to the last little piece. And we have a developer come along. He says he's willing to leave us a little buffer, like a little crust of a pie. That's all he's willing to leave us. We need to keep that last piece. We don't need to sell it. It will not benefit us any compared to the value it has as a park. And it can't be replaced. And you think people moved up there to get away from the city. Think about it. You close off the river permanently forever, they'll be moving out even faster. They'll go to York County, they'll go to James City County, they'll cross the river. They won't want to stay here. If you're going to make it a city that caters only to people that can buy $500,000 houses, who can live on the river or close to it, then you're going to end up with a city that most of us don't want to stay in.
Thank you, sir. Robert Deans.
Members of the City Council and the City Manager. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, Mr. City Manager. My name is Robert Deans. I live at 33 Indian Springs, Newport News, Virginia. I wanted to appear at the last session, but the weather and lack of my driving experience at my age forced me to stay home. Not born here, but raised here. Product of both Catholic and Newport News Public Schools. CNC and a graduate of William & Mary School of Education. Taught Our Lady of Mount Carmel in 30 years with Newport News Public Schools. A veteran of the United States Navy. Served Virginia with the Virginia Defense Force. So I have a vested interest in my city. My first concern is what I see as a lack of security coming into City Hall chambers. Recent events cause a need to be vigilant. For example, you can go into the White House gift store and push a Christmas ornament and get screened. You go to Social Security office or you go to the courthouse, you're screened and looked at. My point is, that you please look at and evaluate your security concerning what's been going on recently in our country, particularly since 9/11. I applaud you for your concern for the homeless. I have here two editorials, one written in January of 2010 from the senior chaplain at the Newport News City Jail, calling for interest in the homeless. And I also have this picture here of this gentleman sitting near St. Vincent de Paul, and that's another concern of why we should show compassion to those who are less fortunate than ourselves. Our city layout is rather unique. I used to point out to students that it resembled a turkey neck. My point is to consider meetings in the north, central, and downtown locations. Ride the circuit like the old justices used to do. I am not wearing green but red as a flag to further examine keeping the city farm and adjacent property green as many behind me proposed. Your previous meeting behind closed doors, listening to proposed investors to the use of public property before the public had input, is arbitrary and capricious on your part. The unilateral decision to destroy the barn is despicable. Whatever happened to being good stewards of public structures? I have here a copy of the Endless Harbor, which I don't know if you're familiar with. There's two editions to this, 1969 and 1978. I show this for two reasons. One, if you look at the picture of this, you have an idea of what it was like when people first arrived here prior to our inheriting this place. I want to get into a term called visual reminder of the past that no longer exists. All right, that's fine, but you have my hand up.
Thank you.
Once again, I and many of my fellow citizens come before you to ask that you make the City Farm parcel a permanent part of Riverview Farm Park. There is ample time to implement the existing plan from the 1990s for this parcel, along with the property along Deep Creek. There is ample time to modify that plan if this or a future council so desires. There's ample time to devise a new plan that includes limited commercial development within the structure of a park. But what there's not time for is the seeming cat and mouse game where we're told that there are no current plans for development, but our city government refuses to act, and by that I mean by making the City Farm parcel part of Riverview Farm Park, in seeming anticipation of a proposal to develop the parcel, rather than at least beginning the process to allow us, the citizens of Newport News, access to one of the last publicly owned stretches of riverfront. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the time to act is now. And secondly, and I read this before I came here, but it's even more, to me it seems even more important because of the tone and some of the discussions taken tonight. But I want to thank each and every one of you for your dedication and service to us and to Newport News. Every 2 weeks or so, concerned citizens such as myself stand before you and we complain or tell you what we want you to do in your capacity as our elected representatives. Sometimes we agree with your decisions, other times we disagree. However, I am confident that I speak for the majority here tonight, as well as the majority of our city, when I say that whether we are in agreement or not, your individual and collective dedication to this city is not in question. Serving on the city council is without a doubt one of the most thankless positions in government. You too seldom hear from your constituents unless we want something, we disagree with you, or some part of the government isn't working. And tonight, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you and wish you a Merry Christmas. Whether I agree with you on an issue or not, I do count myself fortunate to have such dedicated people as you serving the city that I'm happy to call home. Thank you.
I am here tonight to ask that you keep City Farm zoned as park and that you made clear to us, your constituents, that you fully intend to make that prime 58-acre riverfront property, which is the last undeveloped piece of property on the James River in Newport News. It's the last bit of undeveloped property. Part of Riverview Farm Park, as was originally planned back in the early 90s, and as it is stated in the Framework for the Future document for Newport News. Newport News has a lot going for it. I really like this city. It's diverse. It's religiously, ethnically, racially diverse. We all have diverse neighborhoods, diverse schools, diverse churches, and it's a cool city, and it's a city that could potentially be a kind of a guide for the way cities should be in the 21st century. So we have we have a lot going for us. We have City Center, which is a place where people like to meet and greet each other, to walk around the fountain together in the evening. We have, we have Jeff Lab, which is amazing. We have the beautiful theater. We have this incredible university that's developing. Shipbuilding, of course. I mean, we have a lot of really great things about our city. But we could blow it if we take away that piece of riverfront property. I'm from Kentucky, which is a very hilly place. When I moved here in the early 90s as a young woman, I thought the only thing I could think of was this place is so flat. I just was like, what is special about this place? Then I discovered the water. But it wasn't after a while, it was after a while that I discovered the water. Because you can't really see the water very well. The average citizen cannot see the James, which is our crowning jewel. So please, keep that place our park as it is right now. It's our park. So please just step forth and say you will keep it park. Thank you so much.